Welcome to Motion 24. Matt Roloff may be facing the most explosive legal battle of his life. A shocking $5 million lawsuit centered on an alleged forged signature could permanently shift the balance of power at Roloff Farms and officially end Caryn's reign. According to insider theories circulating in reality TV circles, Amy Roloff's legal team has uncovered evidence that changes everything we thought we knew about the farm negotiations. At the heart of the controversy, a forensic document investigation tied to a 1990 property deed, and a grandfather clause that was allegedly never meant to resurface. Sources suggest that this overlooked loophole could invalidate recent construction plans, including the highly controversial wedding barn project. What was presented as a simple expansion may now be viewed under a far darker lens. If the claims prove true, the project could shift from questionable business decision to potential criminal fraud. The allegations don't just threaten the future of the farm. They could carry serious legal consequences. Legal analysts speculate that if forgery is proven, the fallout could include financial penalties, reputational collapse, and even possible jail time. While these reports remain unconfirmed, the developing narrative has ignited intense debate online. One thing is certain: if Amy's lawyer truly holds the evidence insiders claim exists, Roloff Farms may never look the same again. We need to talk about the wedding barn. For months, we have watched Matt Roloff tease this massive commercial project. He frames it as his legacy, a way to keep the farm profitable for generations. But let's look at the reality of what is happening on the ground. Sources close to production have hinted that this isn't just a renovation, it is a hostile takeover of the land's history. The plans for this commercial venue don't just sit on empty grass. They are said to have paved right over Amy's beloved garden, the same soil she worked on for 30 years. This is about you. But this is where the story goes from family drama to a high-stakes court battle. New hypotheses are coming out of the deepest corners of the fan base and legal experts who are keeping an eye on the property records. They say that Matt thinks he has complete legal power to do whatever he wants. He acts like he can't be touched. We have watched the video. Insiders say that Caryn is measuring curtains for her new office in the big home as she walks about the grounds, being like the lady of the house. There is a smugness there, a feeling of total success. They think Amy is gone, they think the check has gone through, the NDA has been signed, and the past is gone. But they are mistaken. They made a deadly mistake since they didn't think about the past. They forgot about the year 1990. To appreciate how big the bombshell Amy just delivered is, we need to travel back in time. We need to get rid of the glamour, the cameras, and the producer-driven plots of the current season. We need to go back to when the Roloff farm was nothing more than a dream and a spot of soil. Oregon's land laws and property trusts were fairly clear in 1990. When Matt and Amy first bought the main part of the farm, they didn't only acquire it as a couple. They are said to have put it into a certain form of family trust that is meant to keep the land safe from the kind of commercial use that Matt is trying to do right now. Some hypotheses say that Amy went up to the attic because she thought something was amiss with the speed of Matt's new endeavor. People are saying that she skipped over the digital documents that Matt keeps and went directly to the physical archives, which are the dusty boxes that haven't been opened since the kids were little. She was hunting for the actual deed. Not the divorce papers that were changed, not the buyout papers from a few years ago, but the original document that started Roloff Farms. And this is where the story really takes off. Legal experts who have looked at similar property trusts from that time in Oregon say that there is a customary language about changes to land use called a grandfather clause. The notion is that the original deed has a clause that says that no specified agricultural zones, including the garden areas and the original homestead, can be turned into high-density commercial usage without the wet ink signature of both original trustees. That means Amy and Matt, they don't have to be married. It doesn't matter if Matt bought her out of the value of the asset. If that clause was never formally canceled with a separate legal filing, it is still in effect. It is a promise about land, not a promise about marriage. It stays after the divorce. Picture the scene. There are bulldozers out there with Matt. Caryn is choosing chandeliers for a wedding venue that will make noise, cause traffic, and bring in business, which will change the zoning of the land. They are making millions of dollars worth of changes. Amy is sitting at her kitchen table with a fading piece of paper from 1990 that says, "None of this can happen without her permission." This is the one thing that will work. This is the paper that stops the excavators and freezes Matt's bank accounts. But why is this coming out now? Why didn't Amy talk about this during the divorce? This is what everyone is asking. And the answer is scary. The working hypothesis is that Amy just forgot. That was 30 years ago. But Matt probably knew. Matt is in charge of the details. Matt is the one who worries about every little piece of paper. If Matt knew about this clause and went through with the buyout without telling the other party that this precise restriction was still in place, he broke his fiduciary duty. He didn't tell the whole truth to get the land cheaper and faster, but it goes deeper. Now I see why Matt has been acting so urgently lately. The wedding barn announcement seemed rushed if you look closely at the timetable. It felt like a lot of things were going on. Why? Maybe Matt understood that the time period for some property claims was running out. Or maybe he knew that Amy was beginning to sort through her old files. He needed to find out what was really going on. In other words, a judge is less likely to take down the barn if it has already been built. He was running against the truth. Now, let's talk about Caryn's part in this story. Caryn is said to be the one who pushed the farm's commercialization. She doesn't care for pumpkins. She wants to rent expensive things for her wedding. The land needs to be completely rezoned for this change. The 1990 deed is the only thing that keeps Caryn from making $7,000 a year from the venue. If that deed is upheld in court, Caryn's reign is over because she can't develop her empire on land that Amy still controls through a 30-year-old restrictive covenant. You can feel the stress. We are hearing rumors that Amy has already quietly talked to a powerful real estate lawyer who specializes in fraud and legacy trusts. This isn't the lawyer that helped with the divorce. This is a shark. The plan is easy. Show that the deed is real. Show that the clause was never broken. And show that Matt was not acting in good faith. If it works, the whole wedding barn project is against the law. Matt would have wasted every $1 he has spent so far. He would have to fix the land back to how it was before, which means he would have to pay to rebuild Amy's garden. But this in-depth look at the farm's past shows that the power dynamic is considerably worse than we thought. We saw Matt push Amy into making choices for years. He got what he wanted by making people confused and putting them under strain. He thought she would be too upset or scatterbrained to read the fine print. This revelation of the 1990 deed changes everything. It shows that Amy was always the farm's guardian. She made sure the safety measures were in place while they were little. The irony is mind-blowing. The document that was supposed to keep outsiders from getting to the family legacy is now being used to keep Matt from getting to it. You can see the fractures in Matt's armor when we look at film from recent seasons with this new information in mind. He sometimes gets angry at producers when they ask about permits. There are times when he won't talk about zoning. We thought that was just Matt being mean. It now looks like guilt. It appears to be fear. He has been walking a tightrope, praying that Amy never opened the box in the attic. The threat level here is the highest it can be. We're not only talking about a building project that has stalled, we're talking about the agreement for the farm, possibly falling apart. A judge might, in theory, cancel the earlier buyout agreements if it can be shown that there was fraud or a major lack of information about the land use rights. This brings the whole ownership of Roloff Farms back into play. It gives Amy the chance to get her share back, or at the least, use this infraction to get a multi-million-dollar settlement that would put Matt's business out of business. And what about Caryn? Some people think she is panicking. She put her future in this wedding barn. People say that she has been telling her pals that this place was her retirement plan. If the 1990 deed stops it, she will have a man who is legally tied up, broke, and humiliated all over the world. Those measurements she took for the curtains might be the last ones she ever takes at Roloff Farms. The setting is set for a fight that will make the divorce look like a picnic. Amy has the past. She knows the truth. And most crucially, she has the paper trail. Matt, on the other hand, isn't going to give up without a fight. He has spent his whole life making things work out for him. He has a history of making things happen, but this time, he's not fighting against what people think or feel. He is fighting against a documented order from 1990 that is well known. As we finish up our look at the past and the threat, you have to ask yourself why Matt would risk everything on a project that was so legally dubious. Was he just being arrogant, or did he really think he could get around Amy's rights? Now we are at the most difficult portion of our investigation. When Amy shows Matt this 1990 deed, he doesn't just give in, he doesn't say he's sorry. According to shocking new beliefs, he and Caryn write their own document, a piece of paper that is meant to fix all of their issues. A paper that looks and sounds real, but has a sinister secret that will reveal a criminal conspiracy at the heart of the Roloff family. Stay tuned, because what happens next changes this narrative from a civil case to a criminal case. We are about to find out what the bad guy's trap is and the forensic twist that no one expected coming. You won't want to miss what occurs when the handwriting experts get involved, and this is where the trap closes. At this point, a family fight transforms into a planned act of dishonesty. When Amy showed that 1990 deed, that yellowed piece of paper that proved she owned the land, it was proof that she had the last word. People who were there say that there wasn't any panic in the room. There was no sound. A scary, practiced quiet. Matt Roloff, the master strategist, was waiting for this exact maneuver. According to several legal experts who are close to the issue, Matt and Caryn didn't merely disregard Amy's claim. They fought back with a piece of proof that surprised everyone. Sources say that the conversation was tense and uncomfortable, and that Matt slipped a digital tablet across the table. There was a document on the screen that was dated October 2018. There was a clear signature from Amy Roloff at the bottom of the page that said, "Commercial use waiver and zoning release." The story that Matt and Caryn told at that time was the best kind of psychological warfare. They said that Amy signed this release during the emotional chaos of the final divorce settlement, when she was clearly overwhelmed and just wanted to be free. They told her that she had agreed to get rid of the grandfather clause in exchange for getting the money for the huge house faster. They looked her in the eye and told her that her memory wasn't working right. Caryn's part in this is very important to the theory. Sources say she wasn't just a bystander, she was the one who made things happen. Witnesses said that Caryn made fun of Amy's 1990 deed, calling it ancient history and irrelevant paper. She is said to have informed Amy, "Honey, we went into the digital age years ago. You gave up your rights. You just don't recall because you were too busy feeling sorry for yourself." It was a huge amount of gaslighting. They sought to make Amy doubt her own sanity. They tried to convince her that the 1990 protection was a ghost that she had destroyed with her own fingers in 2018. It worked for a while. Doubt is what the villain's trap depends on. Amy came home shaken. She asked herself questions. Did she sign it? There was a lot of paperwork in 2018. Did she give Matt the keys to the kingdom by accident, merely to end the divorce? The next day, work on the wedding barn sped up. Matt was so sure of himself that he told the bulldozers to go twice as fast. He believed he had hurt her. But they forgot one thing. They didn't remember Chris Merrick. Chris is the grounded realist as Matt and Caryn play 4D chess. He was one who noticed that Amy was upset and asked the easy, rational questions. He looked at the digital copy of the 2018 waiver that Matt sent him, and something didn't feel right. It was too tidy. It was too easy. And most crucially, Amy's gut feeling once the shock wore off was that she would never have given up her rights to the garden. That land was her heart. She may give up the house, she could sign away the pumpkins, but not the dirt. This is when the forensic twist comes in, which affects the course of the whole scandal. This is the part of the story that might transform a fight on a reality show into a crime. Amy didn't give in, even though Chris was suspicious. She didn't agree with the gaslighting. Instead, she quietly recruited a top-notch forensic document examiner, someone who generally only works on corporate fraud cases and criminal trials. She gave them the digital file of the 2018 waiver and asked for a full report. The expert found something shocking that Amy's lawyer is now getting ready to blow up in court. The study was mostly about the signature. Handwriting is distinctive, like a fingerprint, yet it may also change. No one ever writes their name the same way twice. There are tiny differences in pressure, speed, and angle. You will have 10 separate signatures if you sign your name 10 times. Natural variety is a biological fact. The forensic expert extracted the signature from the 2018 waiver that was in question and compared it to AM's known signatures from that time period using a pattern matching database. And they found a match, a perfect fit. In fact, it was too good. The signature on the waiver was a perfect copy of Amy's signature on a royalty check from 2015 down to the last pixel. Think about that for a minute. The idea is that the signature on the 2018 document wasn't made with ink. It wasn't signed with a pen, it was a computerized lift. Someone had scanned an old check in high resolution, used Photoshop or a comparable program to remove off the signature, and then pasted it onto the new waiver. This is what forensic scientists call a cut-and-paste forgery. It is the proof of deception. You can't completely copy a signature by hand. Statistically, there is no chance that Amy will sign her name in 2018 the same way she did on a certain check in 2015. There is no doubt that the document was made up. The consequences are scary. This suggests that Matt and Caryn didn't just lie. They made fake legal papers. They made a fake instrument to get around a land trust. In Oregon, forgery in the first degree is a Class C felony. If this document was sent to a county clerk or used to get zoning permissions, the people who did it may go to jail for real. This isn't simply a drama on reality TV anymore. This is a plan to commit a crime. But the investigation went beyond the signature. There is a second layer to the forensic twist that makes Caryn even more directly involved. A waiver or something similar needs to be notarized to be legal. A local notary public stamped and sealed the 2018 paperwork. The notary had to be in on the deception if the signature wasn't real. Chris Merrick, who acted like a private detective, is said to have been in charge of finding this notary. We have heard reports that this person used to know Caryn and worked on the farm before. When Chris and a private investigator showed this notary the forensic evidence that the signature was a digital duplicate, the notary gave in. Reports that are only available to certain people say that the notary admitted under pressure that they never saw Amy sign the document. They said that Caryn gave them the signed form. The idea is that Caryn used her power and a large cash payment that was said to be a consultancy fee to force the notary to stamp the document without Amy being there. This is a crime of collaboration and a direct violation of notary law. The notary's confession is the last straw. It shows how the fake signature and the plan to trick people are linked. It puts Caryn right at the crime scene, where she handled the fake paper and helped make it look real. It gets rid of the "I didn't know" justification. Matt can't say he just got a document and thought it was authentic. If his partner was paying off notaries, then they are both guilty of the crime. All of a sudden, the timeline makes sense. The hurry to build the wedding barn, the measurement of the curtains, and the smugness. They were sure that their fabrication would never be found out. They assumed Amy was too simple to look at the metadata. They assumed she was too hurt to fight back. They didn't realize how strong Amy Roloff has always been. The villain's plan has gone horribly wrong. They have ensnared themselves in a web of crimes instead of putting Amy in a corner where she has no rights. The new paper they made to shut her up is now proof that might bring them down. We are talking about possible allegations of conspiracy, forgery, and making false company records. And don't forget about the civil side. This is fraud and a breach of fiduciary duty worth millions of dollars. The mood at Roloff Farms has changed from the roar of building to the silent fear of legal disaster. People say Matt is really angry, but not because he got caught. People close to him say he is angry at Caryn for being careless. He is putting the blame on her for the notary trail. He is blaming her for the digital trail. The alliance is falling apart. They're fighting with each other. Meanwhile, Amy has the original 1990 deed and the forensic report that shows the 2018 waiver is fraudulent. She is not a victim anymore. She is the one who is prosecuting. She has the authority to deploy the police to the farm gates. But before she makes that call, she is getting ready to make the final move. A legal move so big that it won't simply stop the wedding barn, it will change who owns the whole land. Do you really believe you know how this ends? You don't know what Amy's lawyer will do next, since it's not just about blocking a barn. It's about getting it all back. The lawsuit is coming, and Matt Roloff will have to pay the most for it. The hammer has officially fallen. You were wrong if you thought finding the forgery was the most exciting part. That was simply the bullets. Legal experts are calling what Amy Roloff did next a scorched earth technique that doesn't merely stop a construction project. It could destroy everything that Matt Roloff has built. This is the best win we can get. the kind of justice that fans have been calling for the past 10 years. According to exclusive information from the judiciary, Amy's lawyers filed a huge case with several counts early on Monday morning. This is no longer just a disagreement over property. The complaint says that Matt and Caryn are guilty of civil conspiracy, fraud, violation of fiduciary responsibility, and, here's the kicker, elder financial abuse, because they are said to have forged the 2018 waiver and used the grandfather clause to their advantage. Sources claim the damages are worth more than $5 million. But the lawsuit was only the first blow. The instant emergency injunction was the final blow. Amy's lawyer said that the fake waiver is a criminal document and that all work on the wedding barn is against the law. The judge agreed. Reports say that a sheriff's deputy came to Roloff Farms less than 48 hours ago. Picture the scene. Matt is in charge of the contractors and might be complaining about a delay when the police show up at the end of the driveway. They didn't come to talk. They arrived to deliver a cease and desist order that says all commercial development on the contested land must stop right away. The engines of the excavators stopped. The workers put their tools away. The quiet that came over the land wasn't nice. The sound of Matt's big plan falling apart was what it was. This is when the relationship starts to go bad and can't be fixed. People who know Matt and Caryn well think that their relationship ended the moment the injunction was served. They had been working together against Amy for years. But fraud is a whole different story. Loyalty is the first thing to disappear when you could go to jail or lose all your money. People who work with Matt say he is really angry. He is said to be putting all the blame for the poorly written document on Caryn. He is telling his close friends that he didn't know how far Caryn was willing to go to get the deal done. He is attempting to make it look like her ambition hurt him. He says that she was the one who found the notary. She was in charge of the digital files and told him that everything was fine. On the other side, Caryn is said to be very scared. She knows what's about to happen. The wedding barn was intended to be her golden parachute, the project that would make her the new matriarch and leave a lasting legacy. Instead, it has turned into a crime scene. People are saying that she has been quietly talking to her own lawyers without Matt. That is the biggest warning sign you can think of. When a couple stops using the same lawyer, it suggests they are getting ready to testify against each other. The dream of a wedding barn is over. But the effects are just starting to happen. Matt is losing money because the building work has stopped, and the lawsuit is still going on. He has spent a lot of money on permits, resources, and labor that he can't utilize anymore. And now he has to pay a top-notch legal team to keep him out of jail for fraud. The stress on the money is huge. The farm, which was supposed to make money, is instead a burden. And where is Amy in all this mess? She isn't yelling. She isn't putting up mysterious quotes on social media. She is ahead. A source who just visited the farm has shared a moving, almost movie-like account. They say they saw Amy on the back porch, the same porch where she used to sit and watch her kids play. She was looking at the garden that Matt tried to cover with bricks. Caryn tried to steal the garden. It was still there. The flowers were in blossom. The ground was not disturbed. Chris Merrick stood next to her, not as a savior, but as a witness to her courage. This is the best proof of innocence. Amy didn't only salvage a piece of land. She took back her past. She showed that you can't erase 30 years of hard work with a false notary stamp and a digital scanner. She showed that Matt might own the land, but she has the moral high ground. And because of that grandfather provision from 1990, she still has the power in the eyes of the law. The most recent update we got before recording this adds a final layer of interest to this story. There are reports that Matt's lawyers contacted Amy's lawyers yesterday to negotiate a settlement. A huge settlement offered to eliminate the fraud charges and keep the records secret. They want to put the forgery story to rest. They want this to go away before it leads to a criminal charge. This is the finest part. Amy hasn't put her name on it. People claim she's making Matt wait. She understands she has the power. She knows that Matt and Caryn's relationship gets worse every day this goes on. She has all the power. And for the first time in a long time, she is playing to win, not just to survive. This is the beginning of the end for Matt and Caryn. You cannot build a future on a foundation of lies, and you certainly cannot build a wedding barn on a forged signature. The dynasty they tried to steal has rejected them. The reign of Caryn Chandler at Roloff Farms is officially over, not because of a breakup, but because of a gavel. We will keep tracking this lawsuit every step of the way. We are watching the court dockets for the criminal filings. We are watching to see if Caryn moves out of the big house. But for now, take a moment to appreciate the justice of it all. The garden is safe, the truth is out, and Amy Roloff is the last one standing. This is the justice we've been waiting for. Do you think Matt will finally dump Caryn after this embarrassment? Comment Team Amy below if you're glad she fought back. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more exclusive updates as this legal battle unfolds. This is Motion24 signing off. More update. LPB.W', Caryn Chandler moves away after Matt Roloff split. Amy Roloff and Chris Merrick's dream home picks. And Matt Roloff and Caryn Chandler. Apart on special day, is it over? Matt and Amy Roloff, daughter-in-law, strips down. I will explain everything. Matt Roloff was happily engaged to Caryn Chandler when the last season of Little People. Big World came out in April 2024. A year later, they were no longer together. Earlier this summer, he said on social media that they had broken up after 8 years together. Caryn Chandler is leaving Oregon and going to her ideal place thousands of miles away because her connection with Matt is no longer holding her there. Read on for all the information. When people first saw the Roloff family on the TLC show, Matt was married to Amy Roloff. The show was about Matt, Amy, and their kids living together on the family farm. Amy and Matt's relationship was often tense. In 2016, they ultimately broke up. Chris Merrick is now Amy's happy husband. In 2017, Matt told everyone about his relationship with Caryn Chandler, who worked on the farm. A lot of admirers still think that Caryn and Matt were dating before he got divorced. After being together for 6 years, Matt and Caryn got engaged in 2023. In July, he said on social media that they had broken off their engagement and were going their own ways. Fans have been guessing a lot about what led to the breakup. Matt Roloff and Caryn Chandler haven't shared any private information, but Caryn's move away from Oregon is a big clue about what caused the breakup. Reports say that Caryn Chandler got tired of Matt Roloff making decisions without asking her first. A few years ago, he sold the family farm and built a $1.4 million dream home all for him. But that wasn't the house of her dreams. The U.S. Sun says that Caryn Chandler has given up on Oregon and moved to Arizona full-time. During her relationship with the LPBW star, she traveled a lot between the states. Matt Roloff even purchased them a house in Arizona. The publication said that the Arizona vacation property is already for sale. Reports say that Caryn Chandler acquired a new house in Surprise, Arizona, and moved there with her daughter Brittany. Her son, Connor, still resides in Oregon. The insider stated that Caryn is really looking forward to a new chapter and has always wanted to retire in Arizona. Matt, on the other hand, was more interested in being on the farm. The source also said she had a lot of good years with Matt, but she wasn't happy and their relationship needed to end. In 2021, Caryn's son Connor became a grandfather when his first child was born. She will probably keep going back to Oregon to see her grandson. Amy Roloff and Chris Merrick's dream home picks. Amy Roloff used to reside in a big house on Roloff Farms, but she moved to a smaller one after she sold it. Compared to most people, she and Chris Merrick lived in a little house, but they have a dream house in mind. She said in July of last year that she and her husband were actively seeking for a new place to live. Fans of Little People, Great World know that Chris has great ideas and that his image of the perfect home is far different from the one they live in now. And on Tuesday, fans of TLC saw them visit the place they might live after they retire. Chris married Matt's ex in 2021, and they moved into her $600,000 home. Matt eventually fixed up the old property and rented it out, which caused his ex-wife raise her eyebrows. He also built a new dream home for himself and his fiancée, Caryn Chandler, since then. Did that make Amy's husband want to find a more glamorous place to live? Fans of LPBW say that Amy Roloff is making up drama with Chris Merrick, Matt Roloff, and Caryn Chandler. If they do it to keep the TLC program running, they might have to keep doing it if they want to buy their dream home. Even with their combined wealth, buying and keeping up the property they want might be a little too much for their wallets. Little People, Big World showed the TLC star who rides bikes looking at a house he would love to live in. The kitchen would be perfect for his wife, and the 6-car garage could definitely hold an entire row of motorcycles. He said the goal was to combine a house with room for functions. There would definitely be enough room for all the grandkids to come over for Christmas. People said that Amy Roloff adored the 10,000 square foot house, but she had some concerns about how much money it would take to buy it. She said, "I'm scared that this house is a little too expensive for us, but it's nice to look at in view. If Chris Marek gets his way and the mom of 4 from Little People, Big World, falls in love with it, she may use the big kitchen to keep Amy's little kitchen going." He thinks it's better not to rush a refusal. He said, "I think the first step is to see if we like it and then figure out how to pay for it." He did talk about Matt and Caryn and their dream house, though. Amy might think that they will rattle around in the big area because it could take a lot of people to fill it. The vistas are still really good, though. Another thing is that she used to reside in a big house, so she will likely get adjusted to her new home fast. Do you remember how many stuff she kept in the old farmhouse? Fans said she was a hoarder. One fan of Little People, Big World, said on Reddit that they found the house based on what Chris Marek said about it. If they got it right, the house isn't cheap. They said in their comment, the house that A&C looked at was for sale for $1.4 million. Zillow only had one image of the property, but Realtor had a bunch. I'm not going to give you the actual address, but it was really easy to find. What do you think of the ideal home that LPBW star Chris Marek wants? Do you think Amy Roloff is right to be careful with a property this big? She stated she didn't want to work until she was 85 to pay for it, even though it's supposed to be their retirement home. Matt Roloff and Caryn Chandler. Apart on special day, is it over? Matt Roloff and Caryn Chandler, stars of Little People Big World, were apart on a special day not so long ago. This has led to fresh rumors that things aren't going well for them. So, what happened to them recently, and why weren't they together? Since season 25 of Little People Big World is the last one, some fans think that Matt Roloff and Caryn Chandler's romance would end now that the cameras are gone. Some people even agree that both Matt and Caryn are opportunists, and that they use their relationship for the cameras. Some fans, on the other hand, say that the Little People Big World TLC cameras are gone, which means that a lot of the reasons to keep the relationship alive for the sake of a storyline are gone too. There have definitely been symptoms of trouble in paradise for this too, and fans have been quick to call them out. Little People. Big World viewers say that one of the biggest signs that Matt Roloff and Caryn Chandler's relationship is in trouble is that they haven't gotten married yet. At first, they wanted to get married in Hawaii by the end of 2024, but that didn't happen. The reason for putting the wedding arrangements on hold at the time was that Matt Roloff was worried about his mother's health, especially because she is getting older. Some admirers, on the other hand, think that putting off the wedding could also mean that the relationship as a whole is starting to fall apart. Matt Roloff and Caryn Chandler were apart on Valentine's Day, which adds to the problems in Paradise talk. Every year, this is a major day for couples to go out and spend time together. The fact that Matt was in Oregon and Caryn was in Arizona is a clear sign that there might be real problems in their relationship. Matt Roloff told his followers about the snow, saying, "It's cold and chilly here in Oregon, but it's very pretty. We routinely lose power at this time of year, but this time I'm ready with some substantial EMI cost, but wanting to catch up with Caryn, who is a few days ahead of me in sunny AZ." Matt and Amy Roloff, daughter-in-law strips down. Fans of Matt and Amy Roloff from Little People Big World are not used to seeing their daughter-in-law naked. So what more do the most recent updates show? Every year, the Roloff tree from Little People Big World gets bigger. It all started with Matt Roloff, Amy Roloff, and their 4 kids, but it's expanded into so much more. Now each of the Roloff kids has their own branches on the family tree. There are 3 kids, Zach Roloff, Tori Roloff, and their 3 kids. There are also Jacob Roloff, Isabel Roloff, and their son Mateo. Jeremy and Audrey Roloff have 3 kids and are expecting a 4th. Molly Roloff doesn't have any kids, but she does have a husband named Joel Silvius. Audrey Roloff shocked fans of Little People Big World by taking off all her clothes except for black panties. There's been a lot of talk about Audrey and Jeremy, especially since they left the family TLC show. Fans often become upset over what they both think. Audrey recently shared some new information about Little People Big World. This time, she took off her clothes to show off her baby belly as she prepares to give birth to her fourth child with Jeremy Roloff. Fans have been talking about how Audrey and Tori seem to take turns having babies for years. Soon, Audrey, Jeremy, and their kids will be a family of 6. This new update from Audrey Roloff may be a way to get attention, and it is definitely a touch scandalous, but there is no denying that her baby belly has grown a lot. This is especially true because they are counting down the days till her baby is born. She stated, "Things are definitely getting lower around here. This weekend was tough on me pregnancy-wise," while showing off her baby belly in her black dress. "These last few weeks are typically the hardest since I am getting new aches and pains. I suppose the physical strain of moving last week is now catching up with me." Fans of Little People Big World may not like Jeremy Roloff and Audrey Roloff, but there will soon be a new member of the Roloff family. There will be 6 people at Audrey and Jeremy's party, and Matt and Amy Roloff will be grandparents again. No more today? What are you thinking about this gossip today? Let us know in the comments, and stay tuned by subscribing to our channel to get more updates like this. Thank you.